Trying to get this background music turned down. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another. Ooh, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, welcome to another Player Prop Talk live stream here on the channel. As always, I hope this live stream finds you all doing well. It's been a long time. It's been almost a month. So excuse me while I knock some of the rust and dust off the intro here, but nonetheless, hope this finds you doing well. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's like riding a bike. We got some player props to talk about today, and then we'll get into some Q&A. We'll use props.cash to break some things down and take your questions and see if we can create some profit today. Been a rough month, I'm not gonna lie. This month has been very struggle bus. Coming off 3 profitable months: April, May, June. June got off to a little bit of a slow start also, but it turned around about this time last month. So turned around and we ended it well, but July has been a struggle. A lot of chalk, a lot of DNPs in the lineups, reducing your 6 picks to like a 3 pick or a 4 pick where the payouts aren't good. It's just a lot of frustration early in the month. So looking to turn that around today. Yesterday was a good day. I clearly didn't have it yesterday, but Big T had it yesterday. Big T shared the wealth yesterday. He shared his knowledge yesterday, and I tailed like I do many of his slips. I tailed and profited. So we cashed on that nice slip yesterday. So that pretty much saved the weekend, no doubt. What's going on, Adam? What's going on, Vu? Good morning. Also, yeah, it's been a little bit since I've been on stream, but also we typically don't do live streams on Sunday, so a lot of things going on today that aren't on the norm, right? So doing a live stream on a Sunday. I guess we're talking baseball today, or whatever, golf, baseball, WNBA. We don't discriminate here. We just want to talk player props. Let's get this going. If it's your first time on a channel, first time on a stream, I appreciate you being here. Hit the like button on your way in. It means a ton. Helps the channel get bigger every single day. If you're not subbed up to the stream, go ahead and sub up. That would mean a ton as well. As we start off all of our live streams with a little morbid fact. Maybe you know, maybe you didn't know, but over 10% of the US population will die in their sleep, does die in their sleep. Yeah, that sucks. However, if you are watching this, hearing this, you did not die in your sleep. So you are #blessed. See how it all just kind of comes together, correlates. See, starts off on a really morbid note and then ends on a positive note. #blessed. If you've been playing on BETR these last few weeks, you've been blessed. BETR's coming around as one of my favorite apps, to be honest with you. Hope it remains that way. But as we know, things get better. Player prop formats adjust, as did the pricing on PrizePicks with the protected play and Taco Tuesday, the entry amount being lowered, and those things will come with time. But right now, BETR is sustaining, itself as a pretty good place to play and spend some of your money. So there's my QR code. You scan that, go ahead and match that deposit up to $250. They have a pretty good, some pretty good promos. Well, I say pretty good promos because they got 4 promos right now. They have Guerrero, Rodriguez, I believe it's Corey Seager, and I I can't remember the fourth one. However, you have 4 promos you can play today, all massively discounted. We'll talk about a few of those plays, but sign up on BETR, use my code, and then get your deposit doubled up, and then put a few dollars on some of these promos and try to not just make your money back, but make your money back plus some over on BETR. It's fun. I like the BETR format. It's cool. It's a cool place to play. Speaking of cool places to play, come play in the Discord. 10-day pass, $9.99. It's $1 a day. You will profit. You will receive your money back. I guarantee that. Now, maybe not from me every day, but from contributors in the Discord. It's a family in there. So one person's struggling, somebody's picking it up. That's how it is. So guaranteed there's winning slips in there for sure. Sign up for a month, $19.99, or you can knock it out for the full year and save 20% off your total. Do the math. 20% off over in the Discord. Sticking on the Discord because I mentioned yesterday we had a nice little slip in there that cashed that helped me out tremendously. That Big T shared. I wanted to just look at that real quick and show y'all. So this was the slip here. If I can click on that. It was a unique slip. It wasn't all plus EV slips or anything like that. It was, or plus EV plays or anything like that. It Charles Barkley, Celebrity Golf, Larry Fitzgerald, nice esport play in there. Ramirez over fantasy, Ohtani over the home run, and my favorite play, Rose Namajunas over significant strikes. Add it all up and it's a 25x. So depending on what you put on it, you cashed out. Big T put I don't know what he put on this one. I put 8 on it, and in hindsight I wish I would have put 800 on it, but we never know, right? So we put what we can put on it. But that was a fun slip. I even shouted him out this morning, saving the weekend. Weekend was looking a little bleak. A few other winning slips from Big T in the Discord. Nice $200 hit. So between this and the 300 over here, it's $500 in winnings for Big T. This is kind of how my month has been going. On Saturday or Friday, I played this nice 6-pick, and if not for Joe Ryan, this would have been a cool $500 winning ticket. Instead, it was a $52 winning ticket, because underdog gives you a 2.5 up to 2.7. I've seen on the 5 out of 6. If you're not playing 6 picks on the underdog, really look into that, because the winnings are more. It's just the best. It's the best payout right now in the industry for your 6 picks. It is. So consider looking at underdog for some of these 6 picks. Man, that's kind of been how my month is so far. Off by 1, off by 2, and then shit. Sometimes it's just like off by 5. So again, congrats to Big T for sharing that, or not for sharing that, but for winning that. But also appreciate that he shared that with everybody. So if you follow this slip, if you tell this slip, you definitely won and you ate. So let's get on with the stream, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to transition over to PrizePicks from the Discord, and we're going to pull the board up per usual. That looks about right, doesn't it? Anytime I get on PrizePicks, a line is moving, a line is being bumped. It's pretty standard stuff right there. What's up, T? Hassan, what's going on? La Liga, what's up, man? Long time no see. All is well with you. Yeah, I thought you quit YouTube. No, man. I can't quit YouTube. I worked really hard to build the channel, to build the brand. I won't quit YouTube. Sometimes you just need to take some time away. It's funny how we do the things we do because we like them, and you start piling all these things into your day that you really like to do, and all of a sudden your day is full of stuff, and it's like, holy shit, it's a lot, you know? So sometimes you just need to like limit what you have on your plate and gradually like move things around. So that's all it was. That's all it was. Hassan Lewis, BETR has been good to me these past few days. So true. Yeah, BETR is such a great name for an app too. It's, you know, multiple meanings. We're better than you, or better as in you're a better. So just super clever, the name. And then also they've done a really good job of not copycatting other platforms. And then also a lot of the time, some of these newer betting apps are just really limited in either features or picks. You get spoiled by PrizePicks, thinking that every new app will be like that with all these different stats and categories. And you get on some of these newer apps and they're very limited as to what they offer. BETR's done a really good job. They don't have WNBA right now, but I don't see why that wouldn't be in the future. So yeah, let's talk some player props. I really do not have an agenda today. This is just, we're getting on live stream. We're knocking the rust off, I guess you can say, and just getting reacquainted. So I had a slip pulled up on the screen that I really was looking at. Did I play this already? I did. No, I did not. I did not play this. So this is the last slip that I created. I threw this in the Discord, but I was looking at this one that was on the board, and it got bumped up. Colin Ray over 3.5 strikeouts was really a strong play, and that got bumped up to 4. Jordan over fantasy score, Ogwumike under her rebounds, Dulcet under points. Something got removed. I had a total of 5 plays up here. I'm not sure what got removed. Oh, maybe Jackie Young under her assist, I think it was. Yeah, Jackie Young had an assist prop, I believe, of 5.5, and they removed it. So it's already 9:16 a.m. This is like mid-afternoon for player props. Considering when they get released on the board, 9-10 a.m., that's like midday, you know? So it's no real surprise to see some of these lines get taken off. All right, we can leave these up. We can break a few of these down, but also throw some questions in there. We'll see if we can get some on the board and see if we can build out a slip today. Let's see. Boom Bandits. Got you. What's good, Damien? Colin Ray got bumped up to 4, so would you leave it alone or go under? Let's look at it. We can look at it either way. Asia Wilson over first half PRA or fantasy. Let's see if we can fill out at least the last 2 spaces in this as a potential 6 pick, and then we'll go to props.cash and we'll start looking some things up. So we got 2 plays for Asia. Looks like the fantasy score is bumped up. So let's pull up her PRA. because we can definitely dig into that on props.cash. And then for fantasy, all we would do is add in blocks and steals and see if we can get a projection over 28. With fantasy score, it doesn't have to be half or whole numbers to go over. So she doesn't need 29 or 28.5, literally 28.1 gets the over. So remember that with fantasy score, it's not like total bases or rebounds, where if you have an 8.5 rebound prop, you literally have to get 9 to go over. With fantasy score, it doesn't require a whole number. So let's see if we can figure out what would get her over that, but we'll stick with the 20.5 right now. And then we'll look up the Colin Ray play to see if it's still worth putting some money on. And then we'll just move it right along from there. If you are unfamiliar with props.cash, that is my promo code, thanks25. Get 25% off your first month. Man, I've been running this promo for a year, a little over a year. Oh, not even a little bit, almost a year and a half now. Ever since I started the channel, I partnered with props.cash pretty early on. So nothing's changed. That's a good thing, right? It didn't start off as 25% off and now it's 10%. It's been 25% off for a long time. So 25% off your first month. If you've not yet seen props.cash or know what it is, we use it every live stream. So you get to see it used in real time. And I always say that if you are considering taking me up on that offer, the 25% off your first month offer, wait until we break some plays down before you do that. That way you can know if you like it or not. And if you do like it, then definitely pull the trigger on that offer. And if you don't like it, then aren't you glad that you didn't pay for it before? So yeah, I say by the end of the stream, you should have a good idea if this is a tool that you want to use for your own research. All right, so there's actually this Dean Kramer play is one that I want to look at, and then the Colin Ray. Real quick, just to look at the Dean Kramer play, because this one across the industry is getting really strong numbers towards the under, but he's projected for 5. Projections don't necessarily correlate with odds. Projections vary depending on who you're looking at. Projections are not, projections are just crunch numbers, right? They're not on the book. So this is not the same as these. Like DraftKings is not creating these projections. These are just a third-party projection. So sometimes you see projections that don't correlate with the odds. And I always say, go with the odds because the odds speak louder than projections. It is nice when we have the projections align with the odds. So if this was at a 3.5 or 4.1, then you would feel even better because the odds support the under and the projections also support the under. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books that do not like the over on this one. So they're giving you numbers for the under. Whoops, you definitely can't see my screen. Hold on now. Let's try this again. There you go. There we go. Let's try it again. What I was saying was you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books that like the under on his strikeouts. This is Dean Kramer, but you have projections that like the over closer to 5. Projections are varied, or the odds are industry norm, right? This is what you're finding across the industry. This could change if you go to Number Fire or if you go to any other publication that has their own projections. You're going to see them all over the place. So If you have to pay attention to one or the other, it's going to be the odds. It's nice when the projections match the odds because it just builds a better case. But in this case, you're getting a little bit of conflicting information. So we'll look at the odds across the books. They like the under. You look at Dean Kremer's last 10. He's at 50% hit rate. Where he goes over, it's convincingly over. When he's under, I'm assuming he's getting rocked in these games, right? Low strikeouts, high ERA, 6.3, 3, 5, 5. In the games where he is whiffing batters, 2, 2, 0, 0. So it's all or nothing with him. So I guess if you're looking at the under for him, you like the odds, but you're also wanting the Yankees to put it on him. If you feel like the Yankees are in a spot to put it on him, he's going to give up a few runs. Then his strikeouts are probably going to be low based off what we're seeing here, because we're rarely getting games where he's going way over strikeouts, but also giving up a lot of runs. Today, he's projected to go over 2.5 earned runs. That's probably 3. I don't know if that's a 4 earned run game. 140 is a nice number, but that doesn't scream 5, 6 earned runs. But 3 earned runs in games where he's given up 3 earned runs, Kansas City, Arizona. He also struck out 3, he struck out 10 against Arizona. So, yeah. But I was looking at this one earlier today. So I still think it's in play. It hasn't moved. It hasn't moved at all. It's been 4.5 for 5 hours, man. 4 hours. Let's look at Colin Ray. So Colin Ray was at 3.5 and got bumped up to 4. So here's what it looked like at 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books like the over. And now you have the odds in favor of the over as well as the projections at 4.25. But when we adjust it to 4, you can see that the last 10 aren't as impressive, only because you're removing these 2 games. So it's not even his last 10. It's really his last 8. So he's basically 50%, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and 2 games where he pushed, which doesn't get you a win or a loss. It just gets crossed out. At 3.5, it was way more favorable. He's also got a tough matchup today with the man, I almost called them the Redskins, the Washington Nationals, who do not strike out a lot. 20% is not a tough number, or it's not a high number in the major leagues. 20%, that's pretty damn good. Versus righties, you can see that this team, the highest number on this team right now is James Wood at 46% strikeout rate to righties. I mean, that's going to lead. I wonder if that leads the majors right now. That's Joey Gallo type number. 26%, and that's really it. Like, not too much over 20% for this team. So it was already a tough matchup. 3.5 was a really good number, but at 4 now he needs 5 strikeouts to go over. When you look at the odds, only two books have this at 150 or more. With at 150, that could be closer to a 5 strikeout type of number. But 131 is telling you that 4 is in play. Probably not 5. Maybe 5. Maybe 5, 4. So you're getting a lot of mixed results. It's hard to say. He needs 5 strikeouts today to get the over. I wouldn't play this if you're hopeful for a push. Just go find another strikeout prop. Pushes don't win you money. But if you feel like there's enough here for him to get you 5, I mean, he would need to pitch well into the, in my opinion, to get 5 strikeouts, he would have to pitch close to 6 innings, if not more. When he's gotten you 5 strikeouts, Houston, Chicago, Cincinnati, and Chicago again. Man, he had a good game against Houston. Houston, Chicago, there's 16, there's 5 innings there. There's 6 innings, and there's 5. So anywhere between 5 to 6 innings, that's what he needs to have a shot at this. If he's not giving up a ton of runs, it doesn't look like he's projected for a ton of runs at -135 to the under. Pinnacle does have him giving up over this number. So you're getting 2 books that like the under on his earned runs. If he can keep the earned runs down, he may get an extended leash. If he gets you 6 innings today, there's a strong likelihood that he gets you 5 strikeouts. That's my opinion. But if it's going to be in that 5 or lower, man, it's a tough matchup. Washington doesn't strike out a lot. I don't know where else you can find it at 3. If you can find his strikeouts at 3.5, that's where I would go play it somewhere else. If you can't find it anywhere else, and PrizePicks is the only place that you can play, I mean, it's what I like to do in situations like that. When a prop gets taken off the board or gets changed, I'll stick with the same player, but I want to see what else they have up for him. So 4 strikeouts here. It's going to pull up anybody with the letters REA. Did I misspell this dude's name? He only has 1 L in his name. All right, so we have his hits allowed, pitching outs, and fantasy score. So hits allowed, he has 3 out of his last 5 games where he's allowed 6 hits. Today he's rejected for 5 on a 5.5 line. You have 3 books that have this number, that have this line available. You have 2 out of these 3 books that are favoring the under. Pinnacle's got some wonky odds here. So 5.5 hits allowed is the line on PrizePicks. At home, he's fared much better. Only allowed over this in 3 of his last 10 starts at home. On the road, he's pitching not as well. All right, 4 games where he's gone well over this, but in the other, there's 3 games where he's like right there on that line. At home, he only has 1 game where he's giving you 5, let up 5 hits. The rest are 4 and 3s and 2. Those are stronger numbers. So this could possibly be a replacement for the strikeouts, or you can go to his pitching outs at 17.5. So at home, this guy has pitched only 3 games over. So 17 outs, 17.5 outs. That means he needs to go 6 innings, exactly 6 innings. He has to complete 5 innings. If he completes 5 innings, completes 5 innings. Yeah, he has to be on the mound for that 6th inning. He has to. So if he gets pulled at 5 2/3 or something like that, this is not going to work. So yeah, he has to complete the 6th inning, pitch through the 6th inning, which he's only done in 3 out of his last 10 starts at home. It's a little different at home, where he has 3, 4, 5, 6 games where he's giving you 18 or more. You could also look to this one, though. FanDuel is kind of undecided. Pinnacle is undecided. BetMGM likes the over on this one, and Caesars is liking the over on this one. So honestly, if you didn't feel good about his strikeouts being bumped up, I would not hesitate to go and look at his pitching outs. This is his last 5, but we looked at his last 5 at home, his last 10 at home. Much stronger pitcher at home. He's not giving up as many hits. He's also pitching a little longer into games. But also, if you feel like, hey, he's pitching at home, he's going to get a longer leash. He's not going to give up as many hits at home. That could bode well for the over on strikeouts. That's a lot of digging on Colin Ray. All right. Let's see what we got. Skylar off the board. Is she really? Oh, that's who they pulled off the board. So Diggins Smith. So it wasn't. Maybe it was Jackie Young and Skylar, but so Skylar Diggins Smith had an assist prop of 7.5. That got taken off the board, along with the Jackie Young, along with Colin Ray strikeouts being bumped up. Let's look at Asia Wilson, because we want to look at her first half. What did I see for Carlos Rodon? Under strikeouts for Carlos Rodon, under 6 strikeouts. Paul G over hits, runs, and RBIs. Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Giamatti. Brian Bill over 4.5 strikeouts. All right, we'll look at Paul Goldschmidt also. All right, let's check out this Asia Wilson. First half PRA. So we're looking at, man, there's a lot of green. I thought that was going to be her first half. Once it adjusted, it looks a little different. So first half PRA, 20.5 is her line today. She's gone over this in 3 out of her last 10 games. Now this game is on the road. If home road splits mean anything to you, we'll look at both of those just so you can have an idea of what's going on. So, I mean, maybe there's some correlation here with games being played on the road. I don't know what the box scores say, but if the Aces are, not playing as well on the road as they are at home, but they're still winning, are they getting off the slower starts? Is Asia Wilson needed a little bit more in the first half versus the games at home? Are they just beating the brakes off of teams at home and she's really taking a back seat to Plum or Young? That's a drastic difference, though, okay? That's a huge difference. You're talking about a 60% hit rate in the first half compared to a 10% hit rate in the first half. I think that's definitely correlation. I think just, teams click on all cylinders at home. Typically on the road, I don't know, you see a bit of a different. We see that a lot in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets for the last couple of seasons really struggled on the road. And you would see Jokic really step up his play. But at home, you would not target his points so much as you would target his RA. And I think that might be a similar situation here. So we're looking at our numbers at home. Washington is not a good basketball team right now. This is not a game where I think the Aces will struggle. Asia Wilson is projected for roughly 42 PRA. So if you just did the simple math, divide by 2, that's 21 PRA. That's honestly probably as deep as they went with creating this line, honestly. Sometimes these first half player props are not all that complicated. You just take the full game number divided by 2 and you should be in or around what that line is. And then from there, it's just trying to find an edge, trying to find something that supports the over or under. In this case, I think we have data to support the over. If you want to dig deeper, last 4 games versus the Mystics on the road. Asia Wilson has just, I don't know what happened here. Did she get hurt or did she just call in sick? She played 15 minutes in the first half. She had 2 paint points. She took 6 field goals. She missed them all. She also, no free throws. She had 3 boards. She had 2 fouls. I don't know if that sat her down early. She had 1 turnover. So she had no points. She had no assists that I can see. She had nothing. 3 rebounds and that's it. So she had 2 points. Okay, so she had a total of 5 PRA. Is that what I'm counting? 6. I guess she had 1 assist. She goes 0 for 6 from the field, basically. So if she made 5 out of 6, there's 10 points plus your 3 rebounds, which is 13 plus an assist, 14. Yeah, she would have to have done a lot more than that. So yeah, that looked like a really bad game from her. I don't know. The more we dig, do you think that this is just something that this team, for some reason, gives her issues? So if we just look at the last 8 games played against the Mystics, you got 1, 2 games this year where she didn't come close, but in her career, she's a 3 for 8, which is basically less than 40%. Go back to the away games over the last 10, much stronger numbers. Fantasy, you can also look at her first half fantasy score. So 28 is the number. Yeah, if she got you 5 steals and blocks in the first half, I would say she's going over. That's interesting. Again, Washington, not that strong of an opponent. I don't know. Is it just the, you played down to the competition kind of thing right now that we're seeing with this? I would say the good news is that she is projected to go over her PRA. You have you have ESPN Bet that likes that over. You also have Bet Rivers that likes the over. You have Bovada that likes the over. So you have 3 books that like the over on her total game points, rebounds, and assists. I mean, if she comes out and has a dud of a first half, she just has to do that much more in the second half. It's not like her second halves are just fantastic either. So if she doesn't get it done in the first half, I don't think she gets over the full game. So if you feel like she goes over full game, then I think she needs to get off to a strong start in the first half against the Mystics. Or, this is fantastic too, if you are going to be watching this game and you're going to be by your phone or your laptop or whatever, you're paying attention to the first half. And maybe if she doesn't have a strong first half, you're going to go over on her second half, because in the last 10 games, her second half percentages are through the roof. 80% hit rate going over second half PRA, but still 0 for 4 against the Mystics. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with this play against the Mystics, but maybe they just have her number. I will say that because something happened doesn't mean it will happen that way again. So it's not like if this then that, it is easy to get into that habit of saying, you know, this happened, so this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. That's really not how player props work. But it is very easy to say, well, she went over or under in her last 4 or 5. So then you're more likely to go with what you're already seeing. Every game is different, though. It is difficult to turn away from this shit when you see this terrible result. It's hard for you to see it changing, but every game is different. All right. So who are we going to look at? Rodon. Let's throw Rodon up on the screen. So wasn't his number at 5.5, right? This game starts in 50 minutes. So if you're interested in playing any players from this Yankee Orioles game, get on it because it's starting soon. Sunday baseball starts really early. All right, so let's look at Rodon. Yeah, 5.5 minus 145 to go over. Baltimore is striking out at a top 10 rate in the majors versus lefties. Currently in this lineup, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 batters with an above 20, let's say 22% whiff rate versus lefties, with only 2 batters sub 20. Those 2 batters are Mountcastle and Rushman. You also don't have very high walk rates as well. So these guys are swinging and missing against lefties. Rodon, 1 game versus the Orioles back on May 2nd. He had 6 strikeouts. So 6 gets him over the 5.5, which was the original line, but 6 does not get him over 6. So, and now that the line has been bumped, you need 7. So let's go and look at how many games he's actually gotten you 7 or more in his last 10 starts. That's 4 games, 7+ strikeouts. This doesn't mean that it's going to happen again, but you do like to see these numbers. You like to see that a pitcher is able to reach those numbers. When you look at his odds at 5.5, you had Pinnacle that was giving you massive over here. BetMGM, massive. Now, FanDuel at minus 148, 6.5. So now everything is showing 6.5. So if you want to look at it from through the lens of PrizePicks is still giving you a lower line than the other books, you can do that. At 6, he still needs 7. So these 3 books that have it at 6.5, they're more in alignment with the 6 on PrizePicks because that needs to be 7 to go over. So you are going to get saved if he lands right on 6 if you play this on PrizePicks, so you won't lose it, but you're not winning it. So I wouldn't say that the odds are going to be 160 on PrizePicks at 6 strikeouts, but probably still favoring the under. So you can also do what we did with Colin Ray, is pull up Rodon's other lines and see if there's anything else that you would rather play. You know, maybe go under on his earned runs or over on his earned runs, depending on how you feel like. If you feel that Baltimore's bats come alive in this game versus this lefty, hits allowed is another one we can look at. Minus 135 to go under hits allowed. When we see his earned runs at minus 154, minus 155, minus 156 on 3 books, but we see his hits allowed under 5.5, I think home runs. So, you know, if he is only projected to give up 5 hits through 5.5 innings, So he's basically averaging a hit per inning. Doesn't usually happen like that. He probably will have one inning where he just lets up a little bit more. But if he gives up, let's say he does give up 3 earned runs today. Let's say he gives up 4 earned runs. It's possible for him to give up 4 earned runs and not give up 6 hits. If he allows a couple of runners on base, and I don't know if good old Santander or Mountcastle hits a home run with Henderson and Rushman on, well, he just gave up 3 hits. And he's already over his earned run line. So if you want to look at Oriole home run lines also, that's something you can dig into. It's also possible that this hit line is not projected for the over, because if he's projected to give up, I mean, 155 is a number, right? It's possible he gets pulled early. So in the event he doesn't go 5.5 innings, what if he only goes 4.5 or 5.5 innings because he gave up 4 earned runs? That's another reason why his hits would stay under, because he just didn't get enough pitches. So there are a few ways this could work out. If you want to go under on his strikeouts, if you have access to some of these books, I would just play the under at 6.5 on DraftKings, Caesars, or FanDuel. If you can find the over on his earned runs and then his hits allowed on the under, assuming he gets, taken out the game. There's a few different ways you can play Rodon. Orioles bats are dangerous. Very, very good. All right. So you can see on PrizePicks, they pulled off pretty much all his damn props. So if you like the under on this one, maybe consider taking the under on this Kremer and Carlos Rodon combo. I mean, Kremer was already getting heavy juice for the under. This is minus 131. You got, again, 5 books that like the under. So 4 strikeouts for him. And then let's say Carlos Rodon gets you 6. That's still just 10 strikeouts. They need 11 to go over. So that means Kremer has to literally defy the odds and get you 5+ strikeouts, or Rodon has to go out there and pitch and get you 7. I think it's more likely this one stays under. And I think this is a good pivot, because this one is just kind of in no man's land right now. So I would actually just shift to that one and play the under on the combo. That's what I would do. Let's look at Goldschmidt and who is it? Brian Bell? Who is Brian Bell? Who the hell is Brian Bell? Oh, is it Brian Bello? Oh, okay. All right. So looking at the over on his strikeouts, I believe that's what the question was, wasn't it? Four and a half over. Okay, cool. So, man, this is a really good game log here for him. I mean, 70%, 80% in his last 5 is very strong. His numbers against the Royals, though, not a whole lot to look at, because we only have one game where he struck out 2 batters. I mean, what did he pitch? Like 4 innings in this game? He went 20 outs. Wow. So he pitched over 6 innings, almost 7 complete innings, and he only struck out 2 batters. How many earned runs did he give up? Wow. So he struck out 2 batters, gave up 1 earned run. That's 3 fantasy points. And then he went 20. So that's 23 fantasy points. And then you got the quality start bonus. That's 27 fantasy points. It's possible he went over 30 fantasy points if they actually won this game, and he did it all while not striking out more than 3 batters. That's crazy. So this was actually a really good game against the Royals. The strikeouts weren't there, but in real baseball, terms, you kept the earned runs down. You went deep into the game. That's really what you're supposed to do as a pitcher. Not give up earned runs and eat up innings. So if that happens again, then he's definitely not getting the over on the strikeouts. But over his last 5 and 10 games, these numbers have been off the wall, off the chart, off the wall. Off the wall. That's the Vans off the wall. But no, these have been off the chart. Also, off the chain would work well in this situation. Or I don't know. Those are the only 2 I know. Off the chain and off the charts. So strikeouts today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books that are playing this line. Pinnacle is giving you the strongest odds at -136 for this over. FanDuel is next at -122. And then your other books, Caesars is giving you even odds. BetMGM is slightly favoring the under, and DraftKings slightly favoring the over. I would say at the end of the day, when you add up all these odds and average them out, you're probably looking at maybe -120 odds for the over. It's pretty close to even split. So then what we're going to do is look at the team today. Royals facing righties are not striking out a lot. So when we look at the current lineup, we have just 2 batters giving you an above 20% whiff rate versus righties, Melendez and Furman. German. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 batters who are well below 20. Well, not well below, but all of them are below 20. And you do have a few batters in here who aren't even touching 20, like 12.1, 12.9, 18, 16.7. You got a lot of good numbers in here. So this is a tougher matchup for him today. His earned runs today are projected to go over 2.5 based off these odds. You have 3 books that are favoring the over on his earned runs. You also have some high numbers on his hits allowed. Now, while his strikeouts have been strong in the last 5 games, he's also given up a ton of hits. And then pitching outs. So this is a tough matchup for him. I know he's 4 out of his last 5 and then also 7 out of his last 10. But those numbers are really good that the Royals are bringing in versus lefties. We can take a look at what left-handed, not lefties, I'm sorry, righties. We could take a look at what right-handed pitchers have done against the Royals. So we just saw Cutter Crawford go under strikeouts, but he went over his fantasy score on Underdog and PrizePicks. I know because I played the under on that shit, and he goes over. So this might be a trend to attack, to take an over on Bayo's fantasy score, and he does not have to give you 6+ strikeouts to do it. Palante goes over his strikeouts. Tanner Gordon goes over his strikeouts. Eflin goes under. Lytle goes over. Bybee goes under. Lively goes over. Chirinos over. Munoz over. Though a lot of these pitchers are going over their strikeouts, I mean, just out of these, what, 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not one of these dudes has given you 6 strikeouts. So 5 is the high point. I mean, we have to go all the way back to June 21st to get a pitcher who got you 6. Mitch Spence and Uvalde. Glass now with 9. And then there's another one. So over the last 12 pitchers faced, 5 is the high point. That will get you the over today. I am curious to see what his fantasy score is, because if you can find a good fantasy score number for him, I mean, 27.5 fantasy points for Bayo today. So 27.5. Let's do this math. All right. So you got 5 books that you got 5 books that are playing this line. But let's say he gets you 4 strikeouts today. And let's say he also goes just 16 pitching out. So 16 plus 12 is 28. He gives up 3 earned runs. Man, they are really projecting the Royals to get on his ass today. If he gives up 3 earned runs and does not get you 5 strikeouts, there's no way he's going over fantasy points. You cannot have earned runs outweigh strikeouts. You'd have to go 9. You have to go 9 innings. I mean, even at 9 innings, that's 27 points minus 3 earned runs. I mean, yeah, that's asking a lot for a pitcher to go that deep into a game. I don't like the earned runs for him. This is scaring me now when I look at his fantasy points, because you're getting, I mean, 133, that's 3 earned runs. So he gives up 3 earned runs minus 9. Let's say he goes out and gets you, let's say 17 pitching out. 17 minus 9 is 8. That's 8 fantasy points. And then he strikes out 4 batters. That's 12 fantasy points. That's 20 fantasy points plus the quality start, which is 24. That's 24 fantasy points. If he goes out and gives up 3 earned runs, that means Boston has to score 4 earned runs before he gets pulled out the game, so that he's still in line for the win. That's the only way he's going to go over fantasy points, is with the win bonus, quality start bonus. So, man, I'm starting to not really like a whole lot for him. His strikeouts, again, are pretty low at 4.5. And you're not getting terrible odds on this. If he gets you 5 strikeouts, that's 15. He goes out and gets you... wow, no. So if he would have to go 18 pitching outs to get you the quality start bonus. So in the previous example, he wouldn't even qualify for the quality start bonus. So he needs to get you 18 pitching outs. Yeah, I think fantasy points against the Royals it might be a little tough. So after looking at all this, I think strikeouts are in play. And then next is maybe Brady Singer and Brian Bayo's combined strikeouts. Yeah, I think strikeouts might be the best line for him, to be honest. Unless you feel the Royals are really going to get after him today and put some runs on the board before he gets pulled, this demon prop of 3.5, it might be worth looking at. Let's look at Paul Goldschmidt. 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, or total bases. We can look at both. I gotta find the game first. Why can I not find the game? There you go. All right. Probably hits, runs, and RBIs, right? Yeah. Okay. So, wow. So hits, runs, and RBIs. This is looking like vintage Goldie. So when I look at the hits, runs, and RBIs, I also like to look at fantasy points and just do some quick math, because if you have a player that's projected to go over hits, runs, and RBIs, that's a guaranteed minimum 5 fantasy points, minimum. Because if you hit a single, that's a hit. And that's 3 points. If you drive in a run as you do that, that's 2 points. That's 5. If you hit a single and then you later score a run, that's 5 points. That's minimum. That's like baseline. But if in the event you hit a single, you drive in a run, and then you later score, well, that's a total of 7 fantasy points. So now we're starting to get closer to 10. So when we look at his projections today, we see that his RBI projection is favorable based off these numbers. We see that his single prop is favorable based off these numbers, and that gives you two hits, runs, and RBIs. Now, over his last 5 games, Paul Goldschmidt has accumulated a total of 8, 10, 12, 15 hits, runs, and RBIs. And then in his last 10, I'm not counting all that shit. It's a lot, right? His numbers today against Jameson Taillon are strong, but there aren't a ton of extra base hits. So based off these numbers, he would need multiple hits because he's not hitting home runs. He's not driving in runs. Just based off these numbers. I'm not saying that's how it's going to go, but he's a singles hitter against Taillon. So Taillon's doing a really good job of not giving up extra base hits and letting the ball leave the ballpark. The team versus Taillon has hit him really well. I mean, all but one have over 300 batting averages, which is pretty strong. That's a pretty strong 1 through 9. Goldie versus righties this season, batting average is low. We can see that his strikeout rate versus righties is really high, so that contributes to the low batting average. However, you also have more plate appearances, almost 3 times the amount, and that's automatically going to bring the batting average down. But the power is there. So 11 home runs, 10 doubles compared to 4 doubles and 2 home runs. The power is there versus righty. So he gets a hold of one. Chances are it's an extra base hit versus righties. Taillon versus right-handed bats. Taillon is honestly, these aren't bad numbers. 266 batting average is not great. 229 that's a very strong batting average for a pitcher to allow, but he is allowing more power to righties. So 7 homers and 5 doubles. So that aligns with what Goldschmidt is doing. So you got a pitcher that gives up more power to righties. You have a hitter that unleashes on right-handed pitching. So this matchup, in my opinion, favors Goldie. So we do like the over on his hits, runs, and RBIs. And then if we wanted to just see what else we could play off that, then we'll just search him on PrizePicks and see that his home run line today is at 0.5. His total bases is at 1.5. His hits, runs, and RBIs at 2.5. He does not have a fantasy score prop, unfortunately, because that one was looking real good. So, I mean, out of all this, well, I'm looking at this now. I don't see his normal hits, runs, and RBIs. So his hits, runs, and RBIs is no longer on PrizePicks. In fact, on Underdog, his hits, runs, and RBIs is a 0.9. So it's already nerfed because it's considered that good of a play. However, his fantasy points are available on Underdog at 7. So I talked about the hits, runs, and RBIs transitions into a positive fantasy score. I would play his fantasy points on Underdog if you can't find his hits, runs, and RBIs at the normal payout rate. And then on PrizePicks, because with hits, runs, and RBIs, you do need to score a run. You do need to get an RBI or a hit, right? So you could possibly look to one of these as a demon play, as a nice little boost, unless you feel that he's going to get multiple hits and that's how he goes over hits, runs, and RBIs. And in that case, then you would play the over on his hits. But there has to be some combination of a hit, a run, an RBI. And here you have 3 demon plays that align really well with the over on that. So I wouldn't be opposed to picking one of these, throwing them in a slip, and trying to get a nice little boost. If we went over, like, let's take this Rodon and Kremer out, and let's just throw the hits. If we added this one in, this boosts it from a 25x to a 37x. If we played the RBI, it's a 30x. And if we played the runs, it's just a 26x. This one is not worth playing, in my opinion, because the payout is not that much different than, I mean, it's a 1x difference. And it's a demon play, so it's automatically more risky. If you're going to take a risk, I would aim for something that's going to yield you a better profit than that shit. Or you might just want to go for broke and say, fuck it, this guy's going to hit a home run today. Which I didn't see anything in the research that really makes me feel good about the home run prop. But I would say the RBI is my favorite one out of the demon props. Because when we go back to props.cash and we look at how this team is hit Tyon, if Goldschmidt is batting third against Tyon, strikeout rate is low, walk rate is low. That means he's putting the bat on the ball. You also have 2 hitters in front of him, well, based off this, that also have positive batting averages with very low strikeout rates. If one of these dudes is able to get on base, if one of these guys is able to get on base, I don't know, maybe Donovan leads off. Probably not with that average, but he just needs one guy on base. If he hits a double, that guy's scoring. So there's your RBI right there. So yeah, I would feel pretty good about playing the RBI demon if you wanted to throw that in a slip, a 6-pick preferably, because even if it doesn't hit, even if you don't hit your demon in a 6-pick, it's not the end of the world, because 5 out of 6 is getting you a 3x, and your typical payout on a 5 out of 6 is a 2x. So that's another reason you could play a demon, is for just the upside, and you don't have to get them all right. All right, Jonah says, here's my pivot. Helio Ramos over hits, runs, RBIs, cash for me last time and has projected to get at least 2 today. He's been on a roll. Ramos has been on a roll, no doubt. Bandit, are you talking about Goldie? Yeah, I like that one. Let's see, we got Alyssa Thomas over assist. Alyssa Thomas over assist. Gray. Miguel Andujar over hits, runs, RBIs. Carrington 19 PRA over. Bates over 19.5 points. Thoughts? Carrington over 19.5 PRA. Let's look at Dejanay. I'm gonna call her DJ. DJC. Okay, so 19. It's 19, not 19.5. Is that what we're getting on PrizePicks? Oh, there she is, 19. Okay, yeah, so 19. So here's what we're seeing. We have a projection of 20.46. We got a reduced line. We got a Phoenix team that's allowing the 11th most points, 12th most rebounds, and 11th most assists in the league. Top 10 in second chance points allowed. Top 11 in three-pointers allowed. That's three-pointers made. And then three-point percentage is also top 10. Yeah, Phoenix across the board is just giving up a lot. So when we look at these numbers, we're going to pay attention to the last 5. We're going to pay attention to the last 10. And then we also have to just look at the head-to-head, because we have 2 games this season where she has gone up and gone down. So when you add this up, it's 41 PRA. She needs 20 to go over this. So it's not too far off from what she's averaging. This 17 PRA game here, she played less than 25 minutes in this game. She also didn't make an impact in the paint at all. She had 10 field goals, but man, look, when you shoot 2 for 10 from the field, you're probably not going to go over points. You're probably not going to go over PRA, and you have to have a really strong defensive game to go over a fantasy score. 2 for 8 is never going to do it. 2 for 10 is never going to do it. If she just matched what she did here, she went 4 for 9. If she went 4 for 10, that's an additional 2 points. She pushes this line at 19. So you can just see how close that was. The difference in going over for her is literally 1 basket. 1 extra basket and maybe a rebound or or look at this. She's 0 for 3 in both of these games. If she just knocks down 1 3, which doesn't look like she's doing a lot of that, but if she were to knock down 1 3, that's 20 PRA. So you can see how close these are. These aren't off by a whole lot. Free throws made, I mean, 0 for 3 on the free throws. 8 for 8 on her. What? So she just had a really bad game. I mean, to just shoot 2 for 10 and miss free throws and miss threes, that's a really bad game for her. And she bounced back. So 19 is is within her average. If we want to just do some simple math here, it's 18 just on points and rebounds alone. That's 18. That's 19 points. What was that? 19.19 or some shit like that. Let's just say 19.1. That gets you the over. Obviously, you cannot get a tenth of a rebound, but it just shows you that just between points and rebounds, that this PRA might be a little low. And then you want to factor in just one assist. That's the over. I will say this: if she does not reach this line or more, it's going to be real hard for her to go over PRA, because now she has to supplement lack of points for rebounds. She's already not projected to get you very many assists. So she'd have to go out there and get you 10 rebounds if she had like a game where she got you 9 points or even 10 points. She definitely needs to get you 12 or more to go over her PRA. That's what I think. That's what I think. $19 flat on Underdog, and it's also $19 flat on PrizePicks. So I'm looking at Underdog right now. So her points and rebounds on Underdog is 17.5. Also, it's 17.5 on PrizePicks. So you're getting two identical lines for her there. And the reason I'm bringing that up is so she needs 18 points and rebounds. When we look at her projections on props.cash, you had a total of, basically this is 19. This is 19 points and rebounds, right? She's projected to get you 19 points and rebounds. She has a PRA of 19. The better value is the PRA. I think that's a really good one. I'm assuming this one. So I'm not really sure why this one got bumped down. That does scare me a little bit when the line gets bumped down. I don't know why it would get bumped down when she's in a good spot. I mean, definitely the history versus Phoenix does concern you. But I mean, if you're going to have one game where you go over, I would much rather it be the last game you played versus this team versus the first game, because this shows it's trending in the right direction. Alyssa Thomas over assist. Man, she's a wagon. So when we look at her assist, you're again, this Phoenix team is allowing a lot of production. She's projected for 8.36 assists. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 books that like the over on this one, 5 books that like the over, 6 books that like the over. 6 out of 8 books favor the over. Now, unlike DJC, Alyssa Thomas's history versus this team is much more favorable, where she has a 50% hit rate. In her last 5 games, she has gone over this and averaging 9. And in her last 10 games, she's over this average with 7.7. But there are a few games in there where she just didn't do much. So it is nice to see that the last 5 is trending towards the over, and specifically the last 3. When she had this massive 14 assist game, the drop off was not that bad. I mean, to expect 14 assists from a player every game, it's just not sustainable. But the drop off wasn't from 14 to 3. It was from 14 to 9, which tells you that she's not playing over her head. Like this is still really strong. So that's a good one. What's her RA? there's not many data points on the RA. So sometimes it doesn't really benefit you to be too cute, trying to find like too much of an edge. Sometimes the best number is the best number, right? This is a good one for her assist. I think it's pretty strong. All right, tell you what, all right, so we have this group of players on the screen right now. I'm going to take the Colin Ray out. We're going to put Alyssa Thomas in. And real quick, I do want to just take a quick look at the JOCKMKT's rebounds. All right. So she's projected for 7.74, which is slightly over her line today of 7.5. When we look at the odds, you got DraftKings favoring the under, you have FanDuel, you have Hard Rock, you have ESPN Bet, Caesars, and Bet Rivers, Bovada, all favoring the under. This this Atlanta team is doing a really good job at protecting the glass. They're top 10 in defending the rebound per game. So that's positive, number one. Number two, 4 games out of her last 10. Yes, when she goes over, she's over. Listen, if she gets you 15 rebounds, there's no difference between that and 8 rebounds because you're not getting extra points for every other rebound she gets you. So an over is an over, and an under is an under. So these games where she's going over, unless you picked her fantasy points or you're playing her in DFS, this really doesn't benefit you. Once she's over, it's done. So when she's over, it's over, right? But when she's under, it's not even close. And there are more games that support the under. When you look at the history versus the Atlanta Dream, you got 3 games where she's gone over. You have 4 games where she's gone under. It's been a minute since they played, though. It's been about a year. So we got some positive data points to look at for the under for JOCKMKT here. So I'm going to leave her in. So, oh, real quick, before I submit this slip, hit the like button. If you are watching this and you have not hit the like button so far, hit the like button. So I want to look at this Yordan Alvarez because Yordan is at times the real life version of Pedro Serrano. He can go 0 for 4, 0 for 5. He can have games like that where he's just whiffing, just non-existent. And then he has games like this. The great thing about Yordan is that there aren't too many games where he's in the low. I mean, he hits bottom and then he gets right back on it. So you're not seeing him struggle a whole lot, but he's human. Now, coming into this game, last 5 don't look all that promising. Last 10, a little bit better. His numbers against the Rangers, though, I mean, this is postseason and all that good shit. Today, he's projected for 1.9 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's projected to draw a walk, score a run. That's 4 points right there. A single gets you 7. But we do need a little bit more from him today to get the over on that. So let's take a look at his numbers against Max Scherzer. 2 RBIs, 1 homer, one single. his numbers against right-handed pitching this season, batting average is a little low, and it's only because against lefties he has a 350 batting average. So 273, it's not bad, especially when you have the power and you have those extra base hits. Scherzer, not a big sample size so far because he did not start the season healthy. So we're just seeing him return. Versus right-handed bats, bit more of a respectable line. He's doing a great job of suppressing power. Against lefties, though, higher average in fewer plate appearances. That tells you that there are extra base hits involved here. You got 2 home runs, 3 doubles, and 4 singles. So small sample size, but that does favor the over for Alvarez. I'm willing to take a shot on his fantasy score. If you wanted to pull the trigger on his home run, you could. Minute Maid Park is a hitter friendly park. It doesn't take a lot. So we're going to roll with this one. We got a Thomas in there. We got Goldschmidt in there. Wilson over her first half. JOCKMKT under rebounds. Dolson under points. And then we got Jordan. Going to take the over on this fantasy score. And we're going to put 8 on it. Now it's a bit of a higher payout because we got the demon line for Paul Goldschmidt in there for his RBI. So typical payout on that would have been 200. So it's 40 over, which I'm cool with that. So that's a slip that we were kind of sitting on the whole stream. Let's take Jordan out. And let's take Goldie out. And then we have the WNBA core 4 here. I know I saw some questions in the chat for WNBA. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, we had Andujar and Ramos. We got to look up Andujar and Ramos. All right, we'll do that. But I do want to see if we have enough on the board to make a full WNBA play. What's up, Big Icy? Wave Lord, throw them in the chat. What you got? All right, let's see here. I saw something about, was it Alicia Gray? What's up, Steven? Ariel Atkins, that's who it was. Ariel Atkins. All right. All right, so remember that time we picked Kayla McBride to go under her first half fantasy point or whatever it was, and she finished the first half with like 30 fantasy points. The one game out of the last 15 games she went over. That shit pissed me off. All right. I like this core 4 here that we have. Caitlin Clark's PRA was also something I was looking at. She's been she's been on fire. 34 PRA today versus Minnesota. All right. Was it Ariel Atkins? What was it was her rebounds, right? Under or over? Oh, okay. Gray over, to be honest. It looks like Duran Singleton hit run RBI. Okay. I knew I saw Alicia Gray. Okay. Alicia Gray under 3-pointers. Okay. Alicia Gray over 3s. Let's look up Ariel Atkins, and then I'm just going to put the over just to put it on the board. And then let's look at Alicia Gray under 3s. Under, I think it was. All right, so then let's take a look over on props.cash. This is another way you can look at things on props.cash. Instead of going game by game, you can just look at the hit rates. You can just look at the hit rates. It does give you a better overall picture and just all in one place. So if you just want to look at all the information, you can sort it out by the overs, the unders, you know, what's the strongest line, etc. So if we go to rebounds, we'll find Ariel Atkins. So right now her line is 3.5. She's projected for 3.42, which is closer to 3 than it is to 4, which is what she needs for the over. You can see in her last 5 games, she has not gone over this. In her last 10 games, she has a 20% hit rate. And then on the season, she's gone over this line in just 39% of her games. So clicking on her rebounds, we can see that her projections across the board are here, but you look at this Aces defense, as they are allowing quite a few rebounds per game. It doesn't mean that all 36 are going to Ariel Atkins, but she does need 4. This is a tough matchup for her. We have Hard Rock with the under, Fliff with the under, ESPN Bet with the unders. You do have Bovada that is favoring the over. When we look at head-to-head matchups for her, 5 straight games under. So not only has she gone under in 5 straight games, but she's gone under in 5 straight games versus the Aces. So she's 0 for 5 no matter how you slice it. This game is being played at home. So games at home versus the Aces, I mean, we can get as granular with this shit as you want. 3 straight games at home versus the Aces, she's failed to have gotten you 4. And then last 5 games at home, still a losing percentage. So I know 3.5 sounds like a very low number, but it's all player dependent, right? So if you had a 3.5 rebound prop for Breanna Stewart, you would hammer the over on that in a heartbeat. But if you had a 15.5 rebound prop on Breanna Stewart, you would be like, what? I don't know about that one. 3.5 for Ariel Atkins is the equivalent of that type of number for a rebounder like Asia Wilson or Breanna Stewart. So 3.5 sounds like a low number, but it's low for a reason. It's low for a reason. So that one is looking pretty strong. Let's look at the 3-pointers made for Alicia Gray, who plays for Atlanta. Yes, got it right. All right. So we're going to go under on this one. We got Bovada that likes the over, Bet Rivers that likes the over, ESPN Bet, Hard Rock. I'm going to set that backwards. Rock Hard Bet. That's a different kind of sports book right there. You don't want to go on that motherfucking sports book. They bet on different things over there. FanDuel, DraftKings. Okay, so projection is in favor of the under. Her last 5 games, She has gone over this in 3 out of those 5 games. Last 10 games, however, 40% hit rate. And then her head-to-head games versus the Seattle, what are they called? The Seattle Storm. She's 2 for 4. Did I see that right? Under on this one? Yeah. What's up, JR? Yeah, it's live. It's live. All right. Appreciate that, Philip. Thank you. Let's look at, because Wavelord likes to play demons, but has a good has a good researching process on the demons. So let's look at Jaren Duran, right? Jaren Duran double and Singleton hit. Oh, speaking of Duran, oh man, I pulled this card. There you go. It's a nice little autograph. Jaren Duran, rookie ticket auto. When I pulled it, it was like 2 years ago. I think a year and a half ago. He was not playing all that well. I mean, he was like striking out like in every game and just having a terrible season. But this season he's off to a really good start. So I'm glad, because I would like to sell that card at some point, and so nobody's gonna buy it if the player's having a shit career. So I'm glad that he's turning it around. But it's a pretty decent card. All right, double for Duran, and then Singleton hits, runs, and RBIs. What's his RBI run at? Was it at 0.5? Those are sometimes on Sundays, because Sunday is a day of Sunday is a day of rest in the eyes of the Lord, but it's also a day of rest in Major League Baseball for a lot of players. So sometimes you have players sit, and then you have these guys, you know, fill in, these like utility guys. And so sometimes you get these really low lines on hits, runs, and RBIs. For him, you're not, because Singleton actually does have power, and he's shown he can be a quality player. But sometimes you get these guys that fill in for a game or two, and their lines are way too low. 0.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, 0.5 total bases, especially if they're going to be batting in the middle of the lineup somewhere, between 4 to 6. But for Singleton, cat's out the bag on him. He's done really well in his opportunity. So you're not going to get the jump on PrizePicks anymore with this guy. But hits, runs, and RBIs right now for him is at 1.5. Let's take a look at that. And then we can also take a look at Jaren Duran doubles. I should probably pull up the game that we're talking about. There it is. All right. So this is a demon for a reason. Either the books don't like the over on this one, or you don't have enough books that like the over on this one. So you have 2 books right now. Both of them like the under, but it's still just 2 books. So it's a little bit of a risky play. If it weren't a risky play, it wouldn't be a demon, and PrizePicks wouldn't put a payout boost on it. So always know that demons are never going to be like always in your favor. Unlike that Goldsmith demon that we found, we had to dig for that one. And so we just did the correlation, right? But for this one, we got to figure out why it's not grading out well. So he is projected for 2 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's going to hit a single based off these numbers. But we don't see anything else here that tells us that that second run or where that second component's coming from. So let's take a look at the last 5. For Singleton, 3 out of 5, 8 out of his last 10. So numbers against Max Scherzer, just 3 plate appearances and 1 single. I want to know if the other at-bats were strikeouts. Yes. So 3 plate appearances, 2 strikeouts, and 1 single. So he's swinging and missing. He's trying to hit the ball a long way. Versus right-handed pitching, Singleton on the year has a .263 batting average, 6 homers and 3 doubles. It's pretty strong. Against lefties, he's not even there, right? Not showing up. We already looked at Scherzer versus righties and lefties, but this lefty matchup for Scherzer, again, we looked at Alvarez today, and we're going to look at Singleton. So I don't know. Scherzer struggling a little bit with lefties. This could be a game where you want to just play a few different lefties in that lineup. You got Alvarez, you got Singleton. I'm assuming with these numbers, this lineup is not the lineup that the Astros will trot out there. I would assume they insert a few more lefties in this lineup. And these are really strong numbers. His home run today, 650 to go over, -1000. So not as good as Jordan's numbers, but that's also kind of a sneaky one. The hits, runs, and RBIs for Singleton. And then Boston versus Kansas City. We already looked at Bayo. We didn't look at any bats from this game. Let's take a look at what's his stolen base today? Prop. Over 300. Projected for 0.45. All right, so double. All right, so gone over this in 3 of his last 10, 2 of his last 5. Numbers versus Brady Singer, 0 for 3. 1 strikeout. So he's put the ball in play twice, just wasn't able to get on base. Righties this year versus Duran, 21% strikeout rate. It's not that high, to be honest with you. Not when you're looking at guys with 30 plus, 26, 27. So strong numbers, doing a much better job at not striking out. This season versus righties, looking at his numbers, batting averages almost 300, very strong. I mean, 300 plate appearances, and he's almost batting 300 against righties. I mean, that's pretty strong. 9 homers, 10 triples, 22 doubles, and 38 singles. I mean, the power may not be there in terms of clearing the bases, but the extra base hits are there. I mean, he has 41 extra base hits versus right-handed pitching. Brady Singer, on the other hand, allowing versus lefties, a 280 batting average, 9 homers, 1 triple, 13 doubles. If you were going to play the Jarren Duran double prop, or if you didn't want to play his double prop because it's a demon, then you could also look to his fantasy score. Because just comparing Brady Singer versus lefties and then Duran versus righties, those numbers are almost identical in terms of what Duran is producing and what Singer's allowing. So fantasy score might not be too far of a reach there for Duran. And those two numbers would correlate, because if he were to hit a double, then that is 5 points. And then that just basically he's right there at the fantasy midline for that number. So that one is in play also. Yeah, but right now we're looking at, it's almost 11 a.m. So by this time of the day, a lot of those earlier value plays are off the board. So now you're just kind of looking at either really inflated lines or demon lines. Who was the other one? Helio Ramos. 1.5 total bases and 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So this guy has been on a hot streak. And I played him yesterday, and he was not grading out all that well in terms of odds, but I really went with it because of his history and his streak. Man, this is very strong. He's recorded a hit in the last 9 games. He has averaged 2.7 hits, runs, and RBIs in his last 10, 3 in his last 5. When we look at his numbers today in terms of hits, runs, and RBIs, he is only projected for 1.2. He's only projected for 0.62 bases. His matchup today with Chris Paddock, there is no history to look at for him. It's typically in a situation where a team is facing a pitcher or a batter is facing a pitcher for the first time, you'll side with the pitcher. They usually have the upper hand. Pitcher is seeing his batter is seeing his stuff for the first time. But that doesn't mean that the pitcher is going to go out there and just pitch a shutout. So versus righties on the season, Ramos up there with a 269 batting average, 30% whiff rate, damn near 30% whiff rate. That's a lot of strikeouts. His numbers against righties show a little bit more power: 8 homers, doubles, or singles. Now that batting average against lefties is legit. It is legit. So also, yes, Chris Paddock is the starting pitcher, but that's not who Ramos will see the entire game. I mean, once Chris Paddock gets removed from this game, he's projected to not even go 5 innings. I mean, minus 176, under 15.5 pitching outs. That's... I mean, 14, 7. I mean, so once he's gone, really, you ought to be looking at who that reliever is coming in to pitch the next 2 innings or so. And if that reliever is a lefty, what started off as a tough matchup for Ramos versus Chris Paddock might actually turn into a really good situation for him, because against lefties, Ramos is crushing it. So against left-handed pitching, 6 homers, 6 doubles. So sometimes when a player is this hot, you just go with it. Remember last year, or was it the year before, where Luis Arias was on like a 20-game hit streak or whatever, and you just kept taking the over on his numbers because he just couldn't stop hitting the damn ball. So you got to recognize when a hot streak is a hot streak and when it's just like a fake streak, I guess. This is a real streak. So you could look to that one. And then, yeah, it's not grading out all that well. So just know that it's a little riskier. But also know that if you play the over on his total bases, that is a payout boost. That's a payout boost. All right, what else we got? Oh, we got another WNBA play. Yeah, we need. I wanna make an all WNBA play. So we got Dawson in there. Brittany Griner under points. Man, the last time okay, what happened last time doesn't necessarily happen this time, but it stings. Taking the under on Brittany Griner's points, and her points kept getting bumped up throughout the day, and I felt real good about that one. And she finished the game with like 25 points. She went over all those lines. Who is it? Plum? Well, Plum doesn't play baseball. She might play baseball, but she doesn't play in the major leagues. Let's see. So Caitlin Clark is the spicy. What do they call that on Underdog? This is a payout boost. 19.5 points on Underdog. 2.5 total bases for Jose Ramirez. Oh, nice. All right, so it's Plum over points. Let's see. So let's see what that looks like. And then we'll look at Jose Ramirez. Brittany Griner under points. I'm going to pull up Griner. I'm going to pull up the grind dog. Projected for 15 points roughly. 1, 2, 3. Books like the under. Last game against the Connecticut Sun, she put up 21 points. Not too bad. Definitely goes over today's line. Yeah, I'll just stay away from that one. $17.5 points for Kelsey Plum. All right, so this is what we got. All right, so earlier we were looking at Asia Wilson struggling a little bit against the Mystics, especially in the first half. But now we're looking at Kelsey Plum, who versus the Mystics has played really well. 5 out of her last 8, and then in her last just 5 games overall, she's 3 out of 5. So I think we figured out where all the production is going. I thought I saw something different. Never mind. For a second, it was more green, and I thought, okay, so if Plum is performing that way in the first half, then maybe that's eating into Asia Wilson's first half points. But no, this is almost identical to what we were looking at for Asia Wilson. So first half points for Plum in her last 10 games versus Washington. We don't really care about all that. That's more important. Her last 5 games overall, her first half points. So she's getting off to a really strong start. If she gets you 10 plus points in the first half, she's over halfway there. In her last 10 games, these are really bad games. You hope that this is not what happens today. These are terrible games. if she's in that 10 to 11 point range, you know, you feel really good about her getting you 9 points in the second half. If she's in that 14 to 16 point range, I mean, you're pretty much like checking that box, right? I mean, she'd have to come out in the second half and just not play, really. I mean, even if she comes out and just scores 5 points in the second half, but she got you, you know, 13 in the first half, that's an over. So doesn't require identical performances, just got to equal 18 points. Yeah, that one looks good. She is projected for exactly 18 points. So when you look at the projection and then you look at the odds, you got FanDuel that likes the over. You have ESPN BetMGM that like the over on this one. Bet Rivers, that's an even. So out of the books that do like the over, it's not a massive over, you know, but the projection of 18 is almost identical to the odds. Like, that's saying that she gets the over, but she's not, based off these odds, she's not scoring 28 points. So that's really the first time today that we've seen the projections on point with the odds. So I'd feel pretty good about going with that one as an over. All right, let's look at Jose Ramirez. He's also a, is he a promo on BETR? Oh, they took, oh, the Yankees game already started? No, he's not. Total bases, or is it total bases for him, or hits, runs, and RBIs? Total bases. Okay. 2.5 total bases for Ramirez. Ryan Papua. Just one plate appearance. So not, I mean, that's basically no sample size. He didn't strike out. So in one plate appearance, he put the ball in play. It could have been a pop up to the catcher, or it could have been a ball that was 3 feet shy of going over the fence. At the end of the day, it's still 0 for 1. But, you know, putting the ball in play is better than striking out. Versus right-handed pitching on the year, Ramirez is he's struggling a little bit in terms of average. His strikeouts are really low. So I guess if you have a player that has a really low batting average, it is nice to know that they're not striking out a lot, because they're putting the ball in play. So they're making contact. They're not getting fooled at the plate. They're just not getting on base. I mean, sometimes you just hit the ball where everybody is. I mean, there's nothing you could do about that. So it would be much different if he had a strikeout rate of like 30 or something, and he also had a low batting average. And that definitely tells you the story of that he's just striking out. So against righties, even though that batting average is low, the strikeouts are not. Home runs are up. So he's basically doubling home runs versus righties when you compare it to what he's doing against lefties. Average is better against lefties, but also plate appearances are more than half of what they are against righties. So power is definitely there. If he gets a hold of one today, obviously he goes over fantasy score. Obviously he goes over total bases, because there are 4 bases in a home run. So Papua versus let's look at both, because Ramirez is a switch hitting batter, meaning he can bat from either side of the plate. Really not a whole lot here to dissect, because the batting averages are low. The plate appearances are damn near identical. The singles are almost identical. The doubles are almost identical. 1 more home run to lefties and 2 more triples. So his extra base hits are are a little bit more versus left-handed bats. But I mean, nothing here is saying that he's struggling at all. So it looks like a tougher matchup for Ramirez. Tampa at Tampa. So in his last 6 games versus the Rays in Tampa, he's 3 for 6. 1 home run. That's a lot of hits, runs, and RBIs. Versus Tampa at home, that's 11. 16. Power's there. Stolen base upside for Ramirez. He can steal. Yeah, I mean, it's a demon prop for a reason. 2.5 total bases. You know, you're needing a double and a single, or a home run will get it done. Plus 425 odds to go yard today. I mean, those aren't terrible. Home runs are always going to give you, you're never going to see like minus 140 to go over a home run. Never. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, the matchup is there in terms of what Ramirez can do from both sides of the plate. And again, he's not striking out a lot. So the more you put the ball in play, the better chance you have of going over your lines. All right. This is what we have for an all WNBA play. So far. Dolson rebounds over 5. I got her under points, but did you like that Brittany Griner play? Boom. I don't know about her points, man. She's playing really well since coming back. Let's look at this Dolson over rebounds, because I do have her under points, but I mean, her going over rebounds doesn't really hurt the under in her points unless she's getting offensive rebounds and she's just putting it back. Her second chance points are high. So, I mean, that would definitely mess up my under on her points. But no, she plays in Minnesota, right? Nope. Why don't I just look it up? She plays in Washington. Wow, I was way off. At 11.5, you are getting favorable lines for the under on her points. But let's look at her rebounds. 5.5 over. So she's projected for roughly 6 rebounds today. Her numbers against Connecticut. Wow, these are really bad. Was she even playing in these games? What the hell? Yeah, look at these. So 32 minutes against the Sun, against the Aces. Wait, not the Sun, against the Aces. Yeah. These games, she's not even playing over 15 minutes. Again, this is full game, not first half. So what is her last 5 games? So what we saw her put up against the Aces here, 32 minutes, 34, 27, 27, 29. So you're obviously seeing an increase in playing time and overall production. So those earlier games versus the Aces don't even matter, because you can't even compare 32 minutes of playing time to 15. So she's 1 for 1 this season, going over her rebounds. She's 7 rebounds on the board versus the Aces, projected for 6. You're not getting a lot of numbers that are in favor of 120, but you're still getting juice to the under. You got 3 books that are favoring the over, 4 books that are favoring the over, but you can see that, I mean, when you add all this together, you're probably looking at minus 120, minus 110. That's the average here. So you're not going to win it with the odds. So you're looking at projections, and then you're also looking at last 5, last 10, and she's 1 for 1 this season. I don't mind that. How many offensive rebounds does she have? Because I don't really want her to get any offensive rebounds. What is she averaging? Good. So she's not really a offensive board go-getter. In her last 10 games, she's averaging less than 1. Most of those boards are coming on the defensive glass, which is perfect. So I wouldn't mind switching out just to diversify my bonds. I would not mind switching that one to the over on her rebounds. So we're going Dolson over rebounds, Plum over points, Atkins. It was Atkins under rebounds. We still got Wilson in there from the previous slip, and we still have JOCKMKT in there from the previous slip, which I don't mind leaving in there. Boom says, what about Brittany Griner's points and rebounds? Hermin Marquez under 3.5 strikeouts on PrizePicks. Brittany Griner's points and rebounds. Oh, that's why I can't pull up anything, because I have Dolson's name in there. All right. Points and rebounds for Brittany Griner. So her points, I saw a line that liked the under on it, but I personally did not like the under on it. So I was going to stay away. But if I want to look at the under on her points and rebounds, Connecticut's defense is no joke, right? She's projected for 5 rebounds, 5.35. You're going to round down on that one. All right. So the reason I wasn't really high on her points, even though you are getting some favorable odds, is she's just really close in a lot of these games. Like games that she didn't go over, 19-18, she's so close. Yes, these games she just didn't show up, but you only have 3 of those compared to 7 other games where she went over or she was really close to it. So I'm not as sold on just the rebounds alone or just the points alone. But if you look at the rebounds for Brittany Griner in her last 5 games, she's under in 3 straight games, or 3 out of those 5 games. In her last 10, she's over in 60%. But again, against the Connecticut Sun, she's struggling over the course of her career. 1 game this season, she got 2 rebounds. I mean, that was 2 weeks ago. You got the number 1 ranked team defending rebounds on the other side of the court. So when you factor in this, and then this, 5 rebounds might seem low, but the matchup is painting that picture. So it's not an off number at all. So if she were to get you 5 rebounds, she would have to go out there and literally score 22 points to get the over on her points and rebounds, which is at 26.5, unless they move the line. So it's still at 26.5. So I guess we're asking ourselves, does Brittany Griner have 22 points in her game today? Because if you think she does, then you're just flat out playing the over on her points. 22 points. She has a projection of 15. And then that would, at that point, if she got you 22 points, she'd have to get you 5 rebounds. If she scores 15 points, that means she has to go out there and get you 12 rebounds. So the fewer points she scores, the more likely it is that this number stays under. Just to switch it up a little bit so we don't have all the same players in all the slips. The only one that is remaining from the previous slip is JOCKMKT at 7.5. I don't mind that one at all. Oh, I like Dawson's rebounds. I'm gonna leave her rebounds in there, but let's look at her PR. Well, I definitely don't want to play her PR because I got the under in her points. So her rebounds don't really impact the under in her points. But if I went over on PR, then I'm getting real cute with my plays. So in a separate slip, if you wanted to go over on her PR, then this is what you're looking at. So her last 5 games, last 10 games, 70% hit rate. That's really good. History against the aces, just not there for her. Doesn't mean it's a bad play. It just means that this team is defending her well. 2 books like the over on this one. It's not a bad play. So in a separate slip, yeah. If she went out and got you 6 rebounds, I took the under on her 11.5 points. So it's, I mean, honestly, she could still go out there and get 11 points and 6 rebounds, and she would go over this line. So in that case, it wouldn't hurt me. But if she goes out there and gets you 12 or more, then my previous play is sunk. But in a separate play, you could opt for this one, or you can go just with her rebounds, which I think her rebounds are also in play. Also, going back to her points and rebounds, I know I said her history against the aces was not good, but again, we have to factor in that she wasn't getting the playing time. Like 32, I mean, you got games in there where she was giving you 10 or less. It's really hard to compare. So I say forget about those games and just focus on this one. It's relevant. It happened less than a month ago. So not saying she puts up 30 again today, but it's just more relevant to look at a game where she played her normal minutes versus games in the past where she wasn't even getting any minutes. All right. Oh, I knew I saw another one. Let's look real quick at Herman Marquez. Let's see. Who does he play for? Does he still play for Colorado? He does. All right, so we're looking at the over on Herman Marquez. I believe 3.5 strikeouts, projected for 4 against the Mets, who are not striking out a lot versus right-handed pitchers, but you do have some strikeouts in there. 1, 2, 3, 4 batters in there with above 20%. If he gets you 5.5 to 6 innings, it's looking favorable. There's like literally no information for Marquez. Strong. Wow. You got 4 books that like the under on this one. Now on the road, is it different on the road? He's 90% hit rate on the road, 100% of his last 5. Last time he pitched against the Mets was roughly a year ago. He got the over. I mean, at home, in his last 5 home starts, there aren't any. Wait, really? He doesn't have any home starts this year? Are these games from last season? They are. That's why. Okay. So he's making his season debut then. Okay. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. So we don't have any history this year. So he's literally making his first start of the year. So what we're looking at was last season, which is fine. But I think the numbers are low on him because when a pitcher is making their debut, you really don't know what to expect. If he can't be fully stretched out, but assuming that he's making his first start, he has to be somewhat stretched. So, you would expect 4 to 5 innings from him. In 4 to 5 innings, you're asking for 4 strikeouts. So I don't know if that's a lot for 4 or 5 innings against the team that is not striking out a lot to begin with versus right-handers. So it is a bit of a risk just because there's more unknown there. But let's say he goes out and strikes out 5. I guarantee you will never see his strikeout prop this low ever again unless it's a taco. So if you are trying to find value and you want to take advantage of a play that's like just kind of in the no man's land because nobody really knows where to play this. You don't have anything to go on this season. You just throw it in a slip and hope he gets you 4 because you don't really have a whole lot of information supporting. You got 2 books that flat out like the under, and then you have 2 books that are kind of like undecided. It could be a lot worse. You could literally have all 4 books that don't like it at all, but you do have a split here. So I say take the over on this one. Throw it in a 6-pick. I wouldn't put it in a power play. I have not played a power play on PrizePicks in 2 months, I think. Yeah, so if you want to play this in a power play, it's a little risky. I mean, you might as well just throw it in there with a demon play and try to maximize your profit. I think it's better if you put this in the flex. All right, let's see what we got left. Oh, his walks are something of a problem, right? Yeah. I think this is why the fantasy points, this is why his earned runs are up. You factor in that Brian Bayo is allowing 2.3 walks per game in his last 10 and in his last 5. And then he's also allowing an average of 7 hits in his last 5 and 10 games. When you factor those 2 things, what that equals is runners on base. So when you have a runner on base, anything is a scoring opportunity. You can hit a single. Somebody might be able to score from first. They can definitely score from second. You hit a double, somebody's on base, more than likely they're scoring. You hit a fly ball to the warning track and you got a runner on third, that's a sacrifice fly, so you just gave up an earned run. Scoring opportunities go up when runners are on. And if you have a pitcher that is allowing fucking 7 hits per game, and I mean, that's his average, and then he's also prone to walking batters, it could be a recipe for 4 or 5 earned runs today. So, and when you factor in that, we already looked at this, but if you factor in that KC is not striking out a lot, it doesn't mean they're getting on base a lot, but they're putting the ball in play. So we're always looking for overs, like over on walks, over on hits allowed. I mean, just based off all that, you could just take the under on his fantasy score, right? Because none of that sounds like it's favorable for a win or for a productive game. You could just take the under on his fantasy score. All right, I'm gonna roll with this one. We're gonna roll with this 5 for the WNBA. So we've put in 2 slips so far. Oh, well, that's going to be it, really. 2 slips today. We had under on JOCKMKT. She's the only one that's in both slips. Thomas over assists, Atkins under boards, Plum over points, Dawson over rebounds, and Griner under her points and rebounds. And then in the first slip that we built out on today's stream, we mixed it up a little bit. We got under on Dawson's points. We got under on JOCKMKT. We went over on Jordan's fantasy score, over on Wilson's first half PRA, over on Goldie's rebounds. Yeah, give me the over on his rebound, over on his RBIs. And then Alyssa Thomas was in both. Okay, so Alyssa Thomas and JOCKMKT were in both. All right, that's what we built out today. Two slips on the stream. Tons of player props today. All right. I think that's it. 2.5 hours on the stream. Ooh, I just kicked my dog. Sorry about that. 2.5 hours on the stream today. Great way to come back from a month off. Been a minute. So with that being said, let's roll the credits. Let's roll the closing credits. There you go. Yeah, happy Sunday, everybody. Hope your Sunday is going well. We went over a ton of player props today. We built out 2 slips, and the Yankees are already on the board with 1 run, middle of the 3rd inning, and no home runs yet. Volpe with the run scored, and Trent Grisham with the RBI. Aaron Judge drew a walk, I think, or he got hit by a pitch. Rodon already at 3 strikeouts, 2 innings pitched. He's only allowed 1 run. And Dean Kremer already at 3 strikeouts through 3 innings. So, yeah, little update right there. But that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have any ladies in the chat? Just all gentlemen today? It's going to do it for today. Hit that sub button before you dip out. Definitely hit the like button. Consider sharing this with somebody you know. All those things help the channel get bigger, reach more viewers, and just grow, really. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. We'll do a stream tomorrow, 9 a.m. It's been a while since we've done a Monday stream and a Sunday. I think the last Sunday stream we did was during the NBA Finals. And I don't remember the last time we've done a Monday stream. So back-to-back days of a stream on a day that we don't typically do a stream on. Say that 5 times fast. But we'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I've shared 3 slips, I think, in the Discord. We built 2 slips out on the stream. That's a total of 5 slips. Value sometimes on Sundays are not, it's not there. So I don't like to force slips. But if you have a slip you want to share or play you want to share, throw it in the Discord. Share it if you want. If not, no worries. But that's what we do in the Discord. We share as many slips and picks as we can. It only takes one. Only takes one slip to hit to make your day. That's it. That's all it takes. So once again, appreciate y'all being here. I'm back tomorrow, 9 a.m. We'll go over more player props. We'll go over our slips built today. And hopefully we have a lot of profit to go over in tomorrow's stream. But until then, I wish you all the best of luck. Hope all your player props respect the damn coin. And until tomorrow's live stream, Chavez is out.